Go Jackets.
Well, good afternoon, all, and welcome to Rec Talk. So, some surprising news today, or it's certainly surprising to me. We've had a few staff changes. We actually have had three. Larry Knight, our defensive line coach, David Turner, who's our assistant head coach on defense, and director of player personnel, Thomas Geary, have all been let go. I think it said that Thomas Gray actually stepped down. But these are the first staff changes that have happened on defense. I think prevailing sentiment was that, most likely the entire defensive staff would be retained, but not the case. So, I'll say this is common, like even in like industry, like when you have a change of leadership, when the new leadership comes in, they generally want to bring all their own guys in. So Larry Knight has been with Georgia Tech. I think this is his third or fourth season with Tech. It's his fourth season with Tech. The surprising thing is he was part of putting together some pretty impressive recruiting classes for Tech. He worked with Collins at Temple in 2016 or 2017, 2018. And he was promoted twice under him. He was like player, what was he? Like director of player personnel, and then he was elevated to linebackers coach, and then Collins took him with him to come to Tech. He was at Georgia State in 2015, helped them get their first bowl berth. He was also with Tennessee and Cincinnati, so he has a decent resume, and I think the defensive line played, especially after Key took over, just really, really well. Keon White played well. So yeah, it's interesting. So I went and looked back at like where did Georgia Tech rank in sacks throughout his tenure here. So 2019, they were 102. Those were some really, really bad defenses that Collins had. Even though he's supposed to be the minister of mayhem, we didn't see that on the defensive side of the football. We saw that more in our own program. So 2020 we were 86 in sacks. 2021 we were 94th, and then this year was the biggest improvement. We were 48th. So kind of hate to see it, but kind of echoing what I've seen in the Discord and in the different Georgia Tech groups. I trust Key to make the right decisions here. On Jackets Online, basically, they said that there'll be a very interesting coach coming in to replace him. So I don't exactly know what that means. Does that mean Coleman's coming back? Does that mean some big name is making like a lateral move over here? We're getting someone from Alabama. I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see kind of how that plays out. Also with David Turner, that's another kind of, I'm not going to say head scratching, but he's a guy that has a ton of experience. He has 36 years of coaching experience, 30 of that coming at the Division I level, and the majority of that in the SEC. So 19 of those years he was a defensive line coach for SEC schools. Before he came to Tech, he was the previous 3 seasons he was the defensive line coach at Florida. And then you go back, he's made his roundabouts of really top tier SEC schools. So I don't know exactly what that's about. I know that it seems like obviously Key did not agree with the philosophy that Collins had, and maybe he wants to get rid of some of the hires that Collins made even on the defense. So kind of hate to see both these guys go. Some people were saying like, well, it's kind of dirty that we recruited these defensive linemen and defensive players, and then after they're signed, change coaches. But that's college football. I mean, the only thing that's consistent in college football and really life, even in all of your careers, is change. I guarantee you, wherever you work next year, there will be different people there. Things will change. So, obviously, I don't have all the information. I don't know what led up to these decisions. But again, I trust Brent Key to make the correct decisions, and I trust Jay Batt. If you haven't seen, we blew out of the water the $2.5 million fundraising initiative. It's now at 4.8, so we've almost doubled that. I've seen in the Discord people are like, well, can that be used for NIL? I'm not sure. I would think it can be, though. And today there's a ton of players on Twitter. I saw Zach Pyron. I saw Leo Blackburn had signed like an NIL deal with the collective, which is big. Retaining Leo Blackburn is huge. Like he's going to be, if he can stay healthy, I think a really, really good player, a player that, has a good opportunity at being drafted. And as far as our director of player personnel, Thomas Geary, I don't know, a ton about him. But again, when you've come from where Tech has been with 3-9, 3-9, 3-9 seasons, like there's going to have to be some drastic changes that have to be made. The surprising thing is just that our defense was particularly good last year. And they would have been ranked higher had we not had turnover issues and kind of an inept offense that they were, having to fight against. So I think there's a very small chance that there'll be any more staff changes on the defense because, our defensive backfield has been pretty good. Like you think of Clayton Powell-Lee, you think of Brooks, Clayton Powell-Lee was second team freshman All ACC or second team All ACC. Both our linebackers were second team All ACC, and I did a video on Jason Seymour being named or nominated for linebacker coach of the year. So, and Andrew Thacker's not going anywhere. Andrew Thacker proved last season that he knows what he's doing, contrary to what we had seen in the seasons leading up to that. So kind of just to recap, from what I've seen, we've had, let's see here, as far as staff turnover, we've made, it looks like 6 or 7 hires, and I think we've made like six people have left the program. So first and foremost, we've hired Buster Faulkner. We fired offensive coordinator Chip Long, which kind of hurts. I believe we have to pay him $750,000. That's what he was due to make this next year. But something's got to change with Georgia Tech's offense. Buster Faulkner seems like, really a home run hire for us. Brent Key was obviously elevated to head coach, so we had to hire Jeep Wade to take over on the offensive line. Running back coach Mike Daniels left of his own volition soon after Key was hired. So I would think there was a fundamental difference in philosophy between the two of them. We hire Norval McKenzie, who, if you've been on Twitter, is just blowing up Tech. Really passionate guy. I think that's another good hire. We let go of wide receivers coach Dale Alexander and hired Josh Crawford. Josh Crawford, another interesting hire, has some interesting philosophies on offense and how he likes to space his wide receivers. Question marks in offense is, we've talked about, I don't know. Chip Long was the tight ends coach. I would assume Buster Faulkner fills that role, and we still don't 100% know what's going on with the special teams coordinator. It could be Jason Seymour. He took that role this season. I said in the last video, I'd really like to hire someone from outside and let Jason Seymour just focus on developing really good linebackers. We let go of Louis Caralla. I mean, that was another kind of surprising thing. He was a really kind of motivational guy, really well liked within the program, but we ended up letting go of him and hiring AJ Artis. We hire Aaron Joe as our general manager. That's another really good hire. Someone else that's really going to help with recruiting, someone that knows what it's like to play at Georgia Tech, the academics of Georgia Tech. And then obviously today we let go of Larry Knight, David Turner, and Thomas Geary. So We'll see how it pans out. I'm excited to see who we hire as a defensive line coach, and I guess we would elevate someone to assistant head coach of the defense. I honestly didn't know that was a position, so I guess you have an assistant head coach on offense and assistant head coach on defense. But yeah, so that's what's going on in Tech right now. I've made a state of the and already recorded kind of a state of the program for Georgia Tech in 2023. Like, where are we right now? If I had to grade it, give it a letter grade right now, I'm going to hold off on that and release it tomorrow. Also, I've got some interesting things in the works for the Rec Talk live show. Working on having a very special guest come on that I know you're all going to be excited to hear from. That'll probably be not this week, but 2 weeks after the next Rec Talk live show we have. Definitely tune in for this one. It'll be this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I believe that's the 8th, January the 8th. We'll have a ton of fun. You can call in, ask me anything you want, talk about what you want. It'll be the day before the national title game, so we'll see. We'll definitely talk about that. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Give us a like and subscribe if you like the video. Follow us on Twitter at Rec Talk, and we have a pretty cool Discord group. Y'all have a good one.